Hi, welcome back to Mimi's Life. This time you'll see my face and then a couple of snippets of my videos because we're gonna go over some mistakes that I made. Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while since I've actually sat like in front of a camera, but I think it will be time, and I think it's fun just to change it up a little bit. And for those that are new to my channel, this is me. Actually, I got my hair like up and I got a cap on just because it's a mess. The hair is a mess.
The hair is a mess.
Doesn't matter. I'm gonna talk to you today about some of the painting mistakes that I've made in some of my paintings. Now you can see a few around me. There's the latest one, and there's two behind me here, and then the one right here that is actually not finished yet. That's why you still see the masking tape on it. Plus you have not seen this one because this one is not even up on YouTube yet. Anyway, so why did I take such a left turn on my channel? Because I've been doing a lot of mental health stuff, and awesome, that's great. I'm still pro mental health things, but I needed something as an outlet because I was starting to get really stressed and frustrated with my own situation that I'm in right now. So I really needed something to help calm me down. And I just started to do the painting. My first painting that I did in a long time, I videotaped like right off the bat, and that's the one that I'll show you and it will pop up here. But it's not one of the best. It's the start of my journey. But before we go any further, I want to remind you, as I do a really weird looking whatever that was, please subscribe to my channel. I love to meet new people, and I love to hear feedback, and I like to chat with people. So feel free to subscribe, give it a thumbs up, share the video, yay! Okay, but we're not even at the end yet. You don't even know if this is gonna be any good, but trust me, I think you'll like it. Yeah. Let's get into these little art mistakes that I've been making, and I'll give you examples of what I did, what wasn't very good, and what I did that was better. Okay, let's go. Numero uno, using too much paint. Yeah, that's definitely the mistake that I've made. And I've kind of been balancing between not using enough and using too much. And I've ended up with having to rinse out a lot of paint for my little mixing bowls that you've seen in the videos. And I feel sad because that's paint that's not being used. And I'm thinking, oh, I could create something else out of that. So yes, try not to use too much paint. I want to kind of compare it with putting salt in your meals. You can always add, but you cannot really take away. So now there's a little bit more forgiveness when you're painting. You can kind of, fix your mistakes a little bit here and there, but yeah, less is more. And I've also started doing a lot more of droplets and things onto my paintings, and then just kind of blending it in on the canvas rather than putting it into my little bowls. But sometimes you just mix a color, right? Because you want a different color than the color you actually have on hand. And then I put in too much. So I really urge you to just take small amounts, and then you can always add. And then definitely try to not waste your paint. Because even though my paint's cheap, dollar store items, hey, it's not hard to replace. They're $1.50 per bottle. That's Canadian, by the way. So it's not super expensive, but at the same time, why overuse it, right? I'm frugal, so. Number 2, mixing your color above the canvas. I've made a couple of mistakes, and I'll pop them up for you. You'll see them because I've had a couple of drops of paint hit the canvas here and there because I was mixing the colors above the canvas. Now, the reason I was mixing it above the canvas is because I was trying to get a camera shot. And I think in the last 2 videos, you can clearly see that I kind of stopped doing that, and you don't really see me mixing colors much anymore on screen. Now, if you like me to do that, let me know, then I'll have to find a different way of doing that, but I've made a few mistakes. Like I said, I would have a few droplets fall onto my canvas, and then I'd have to work around that to fix that. So don't mix your colors above the canvas. Unless you're really going for abstract, then it doesn't really matter. Tip number 3, not putting enough pressure on the masking tape. Well, I have a very good example that I had some paint kind of bleed, as I call it, underneath the masking tape, and then I have to touch it up with white. And you gotta be careful, because if that paint is not entirely dry, then it starts to mix with the color that kind of got underneath the masking tape, and then you have a bigger mess on your hands. So put your fingers on the masking tape, push it really down on that canvas. And even if you put your, like this one, I've put this one aside because I'm not quite done with it, and the masking tape was starting to kind of come away from it, and canvas is pretty strong. So you can really put the pressure on and really make sure that it's like tight and that there's a seal on it. And yes, this masking tape also pretty cheap. I mean, dollar store, go figure. Go figure. But I don't know if it make any difference if you will buy more expensive masking tape. That will be something to try out, but I just say put enough pressure on it. It's okay. You're not gonna really wreck your canvas. You'll most likely wreck your painting if you don't put enough pressure on, because I hate the touching up part. I don't like it. I like it when I pull it off to have a clean, solid line. You with me? Okay, so number 4 is put down like leaves for trees or bushes before you've put in the trunk or sticks or limbs or whatever. I have made that mistake. And then you have to kind of hand paint them in. And in my opinion, it never looks good. And sometimes you kind of have to do a little bit of touch up here or there, but I've made mistakes of completely creating, you know, like this outline of, you know, a tree with the leaves and everything, and then realize, oh, where's the trunk? So, long story short, put in the trunk first, put in your limbs first, then start putting on the leaves. Number 5, not leaving a shadow space. What do you mean, a shadow space? Like, what is a shadow space? You're talking creepy stuff here? No. You're gonna need a shadow in order for light to show. That's actually one of the tips from Bob Ross. He is one of my biggest inspirations, and, you know, rest in peace, Bob. But the legend lives on in many paintings that people, you know, make themselves. Anyway, you need to have space, negative space, shadows in order to make the other colors pop. And I have made mistakes by filling in stuff completely, not leaving anything to work with. And then it becomes really hard to fix it afterwards, because then you kind of have to work shadows back in once you cover it all up, you know? Or just like I've done in some of these videos, I just totally covered like a whole portion of my canvas with like a blob color, and it was really hard to work with afterwards. So try to leave like empty space, stuff that you can, when you start putting an object in front of, you can still kind of look through it. Mostly trees, and you'll see a couple of examples where I have left enough space, and it creates a way better effect, in my opinion. Number 6, not putting in any highlights. Highlights are so important. Yes, they are. I mean, if you are into makeup and everything, you'll know that, you know, highlighting your cheeks and the nose and the cupid's bow and the little spot here makes such a difference on your face. Same goes for painting. If you just, you know, draw or paint like a tree trunk in one solid color, you got a very beautiful 2D object on your canvas, but it doesn't give you that actual tree feel. So that's why you put in highlights, and along where the light would actually hit the tree, because when you look at a tree, when the sun hits it, there will be different light than where the shadow is. And it makes a lot of sense. Now, same goes for clouds. Put in highlights. Just the plain white paint for your clouds It can work, yes it can, but I would not suggest that. I would suggest playing with different colors and then highlighting it and putting a little more depth and dimension into it. So highlighting is super important. Same goes for trees, especially the leaves. Where does the light hit the leaves? And that's where you put your highlight. And it takes some practice sometimes, because there are always paintings where you look at highlights and you go, but where's the light source? I don't see the light source. Or you see other objects in the painting that are highlighted at completely different angles. So be careful that once you kind of decide where your light's coming from, you stick with that angle. But yes, highlights, super important, because they really make, you know, they just give more, I don't even know what to call it. It just works, trust me, okay? Let's get on with number 7. Overthinking it. Yeah, overthinking it. So this is a very good example, I'll grab it, of overthinking it. This painting ain't done yet, okay? But I'm also not happy with it. I fiddled so much with what's supposed to be the Northern Lights, and like I said, I'm not done with it yet, because I don't know if I can actually fix it. So personally, I'm not very proud of this work, but at the same time, I've learned a lot from it, because I fiddled and fiddled and fiddled. I'll zoom in a little bit, or I'll put it right up in front of the screen here. I fiddled and fiddled and fiddled to get the right colors. And I think I need to buy some neon paints. I think that's the key. Okay, sometimes thinking is great, sometimes overthinking, not good. And then you fiddle and fiddle and fiddle and you fiddle it to death. Yes, that's another reference to Bob Ross, who says the same thing. See what a mess it is in there? These are my kids' like stuff, toys and things and whatnot. Side note. Okay, going back in. So don't overthink it. Sometimes you just gotta go with it. One of my paintings that have turned out really well is the blue painting. You may be able to see right here, right behind me, my blue fantasy painting. And if you haven't seen it, here it is. That one, I did not really think much about it. I just went with it. Didn't think too much, just went with it. And it turned out into a beautiful painting. Same kind of with the one right here. I mean, I used a reference, but other than that, I kind of did not, like the sky, it just kind of came and I didn't think about it. And when you think about it too much and you fiddle too much and you try to get every little thing right, you tend to make things worse. Try not to overthink it. Have fun with it. And hey, sometimes things just don't work out the way you want to, and they are not as pretty as you'd like. Number 8, the very last one. Don't compare yourself to others. Just don't. You know, I'm not Bob Ross. I can't paint like him because first off, I paint with acrylics and not with oils. What is this? Anyway, so there is a difference. Secondly, he lived in Alaska, so he lived around all those beautiful landscapes. So he had way more references in his mind already. Yeah, and then it's funny because one of the paintings, and I'll point it right here, that blossom tree, I did that following a tutorial. And throughout the whole video, I am completely comparing myself to the artist that actually made that original painting. And looking back, I'm like, why are you trying so hard to be something that you're not? So I think for the future, I think it has to make sense to you. And I've mentioned that in a couple of my videos. Your paintings have to make sense to you. And if it touches somebody else, beautiful. But if not, it's okay. I have to think, okay, I don't have to A, impress anybody, and B, I don't have to copy anyone. And I'm here for the journey. I'm here to learn, and let's not compare, okay? Because everybody's got their own uniqueness, has got their own beautiful thing to bring to a canvas that nobody else can. So your mind is the only one really out there. And in order to, translate what goes on in there, or your ideas, your thoughts, or whatever, onto a painting, it's just only you who can do that. Cherish that and go with it and create and make mistakes, even though they suck. That's why this painting isn't finished yet, because I'm like, I don't like it. I like the mountains And I still have other ideas for it, but because the Northern Lights didn't turn out the way I wanted to, I put it aside because I'm like, I don't want to work on something that disappoints me, right? But at the same time, it is a learning curve, and I think that is great because if you're not open to learn, if you're not open to just make mistakes, then I don't think art is for you. Okay, because you're gonna make mistakes. Yeah, and it takes practice. So keep going, keep practicing. By the way, disclaimer, I am not an expert. Absolutely not. I have not had one freaking art lesson except for maybe the ones that I had through high school. But like, I haven't taken any courses. I am not an art guru. I just love doing it and I enjoy working with paint. Anyway, oh, and a different side note, if there's any mental health issues that you really like me to touch on, let me know. I know I haven't done much of that lately because I have a lot going on myself, but if there's a specific request and there's multiple requests for that, like it seems to be a hot topic, then I'm willing to actually put some time and effort into that. I don't feel like throwing on a video that nobody wants to watch, and then I've put like how much time and effort into it. So, and my time right now is very valuable, so I don't want to waste it. Okay, well, that's it for today. Stay happy, keep your peace, do some painting or don't, just enjoy my videos, okay? Have a great day, everyone. Bye. Because it's not even up on Facebook. And then, you know, wow, I can't talk. Tip number 3, putting not. Oh, great. We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. I sure.